This is the B-side, B-side, B-side of marriage. This is the B-side, B-side, B-side of marriage.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bside of Marriage Podcast. I am your host, Rashonda, and this is my husband and co-host,
Jason.
And here at the B-Side, we talk about everything related to marriage, the good, the bad, the real,
the A and the B side.
So once again, thank you for joining us. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening on any of the podcasting platforms, make sure you rate and review so that other people can help find the show.
And please be sure to follow us on Instagram at Bside of Marriage and on Facebook at The Bside of Marriage.
All right, so let's get into it. All right, so let's start off with our first segment where we share either an A or B side moment from the week. A side being, something that is like typical, something that's expected. And a B-side moment is something that is out of the ordinary, the reality of life. And you go first.
Okay, so
give you some time to think.
No, I'm kind of torn between.
Okay, because
like an A and a B. I'm torn between because
we do this every week.
No, I know this. I'm torn between if I'm going to do an A or a B side moment because, had a B side and then I had an A side. So it's like, so I guess I kind of go with, I'm going to kind of do both because it's kind of hard. It's not going to be long.
But it's fine.
So, we kind of told everybody that, I'm coaching my son and we got both kids in sports, basically. Both our boys. Mm-hmm. So one of our last games we had where, our son scored his first goal.
Which one?
His first goal. We're playing soccer. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Our youngest, Micah, he scored his first goal.
Yeah.
But it got called back because supposedly the ref blew a whistle, didn't hear no whistle.
Yes.
And supposedly there was a kid on the ground who was hurt that subbed somebody else in. None of that, we didn't hear none of that, nobody knew nothing. So They called the goal off. And being that they called the goal off, that literally shot the confidence in all the kids after that. Because it was a tie game, they had scored, they would have been up. And then after that, they lost 4-1. So it totally shot them down, their confidence. And then the other side is my oldest. Finally, he listened to what we're saying, and to use his skills that he has to his best of his potential when he's playing in the game. Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to do everything he does in a video game or sees on TV, we tell him to focus on what your strong suit is drive to the hole and finish.
Yes.
This past game, I think he had about 6-7 rebounds, and he could have had about 18 points. He missed a couple layups, but I think he ended probably like 12 points.
Yeah, that's probably 12.
He probably had 12, but he could have had about 18 just blown layups, But so that's what I say. I have an A and B side because, with our kids, it was like we had a low and then we had a high. So
yes.
What about you?
I'm gonna go with an A. I'm gonna go with an A. Yes, all of that is. Well, actually, I have A and B, but I'm gonna go with A because everything you said is true. The kids being in sports, especially our youngest, has just been an interesting.
Like we said.
Interesting experience, and has caused me to have to really show some patience in this. Actually, I'm changing it. I'm not doing the A. I'm going to do the B. So, because everything's leading up to this. This is like a B-side of parenting. I am very competitive Jason is very competitive. I don't actually remember when it started, but I feel as though there should be a level of pride at some point when you're playing a sport. That is not the case with my youngest. He just does not have it in him to like want to compete, want to demonstrate how, his level of his skill level. He just wants to
be out there, and then when he doesn't want to be out there, he wants to stop.
Which is very often. Like, he goes out, I want to go in. Then
I tied after
2 seconds. Sub, I'm like, no, he just got out there. And so, like, I've really been trying to find his motivation, like how to motivate him. Because okay, mind you, he's 5. I'm not expecting him to. This is his first time, playing sports. So I'm not expecting a lot from him. I expect him though to try hard and to give it an effort so that we can gauge if he's actually interested in it or not. Because at this point, we have no idea. I was like, it kind of comes across like we put him on the team so that this team can have a coach. Because all the other kids listen and they're like, oh, yes, Coach Adams. And his son, Daddy, I'm going to give hugs.
Yes.
I'm so tired. It's just whatever. So I was trying to find trying to motivate him. So, okay, well, because he's on a team that has very limited number of players. So being that they're young, being that they have a small number of players, I'm like, you need to play, at least for your other team, to give them a break. Because it's not fair. We're already playing 4 against 4. Because we only have like 1 sub usually. So we're playing 4 against 4. And then if Micah's out there and he's not doing anything, we're really playing 3 against 4.
Pretty much.
And I was like, that's not fair to your teammates who are trying really hard to score. And they were like, they're really trying to get better every week. And Micah's just out there. I have no clue. And so I asked him, I was like, do you like playing soccer? Yes. And I'm like, you're not showing it. I was like, well, please, just go play for your teammates. Mm-hmm. Like, go help them out because they're trying really, really hard. And so I need you to just try really, really hard for them. So we will see. We don't have any games this weekend. But we'll see next game if that lands anywhere. Then we have our daughter who loves gymnastics, loves to flip and all the things. Well, at her meet, she's like looking at us like, I don't know, daydreaming. And I'm just like, girl, what's going on? So then when it's time for her to actually like do her event, like warm-ups, she's great. Then it's time for her to do her event, and she doesn't do good. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the meet, when she doesn't medal, we're the ones who have to comfort her. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is why I said, this is teaching me patience. Because I'm just like, in my head, I did not say this to my daughter, okay? Don't come for me. But I'm just like, girl, you didn't put out the effort. Mm-hmm. You didn't put your best effort out there. You left your best effort on warm-ups. So how do you expect to medal when all the other girls who medaled each time, like, they do warm up, but when they were actually competing, when it was their competing time, they were like trying to get better. I don't know what Ivy's trying to do. So I was just like, okay, so what am I supposed to do with this? And how do you support kids who don't have, well, the only one who has a competitive bone is Aiden, and his is too competitive. Oh, yeah. To where he gets so frustrated, he's afraid of messing up, that he basically psychs himself out. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus, Lord, help me. Oh, baby Jesus.
So, what I do like about gymnastics is that everybody doesn't get a medal. I'm strictly that type of parent. They don't get a medal, they get a ribbon. Yeah, but it's a ribbon and a medal is 2 different things. Okay. And that's why, like I said, as a dad, as somebody who coaches, I'm not a component of everybody gets an award. Oh, yeah. That's something I'm very strong about because the simple fact is, you have to, like, what my daughter is learning is that she's not always going to win. And she has to learn, she's learning, like, I have to put more effort for me to be able to get certain things, okay? And a lot of other kids don't get that. That's why I was like, even as a coach, like, you know, when they give out the awards, I take the award from, if the other parents want their kids, that's fine, but my kid's not getting these little awards because I don't want them to think that
they always are gonna.
Yeah, they deserve. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't deserve it. So, but that's why I like kind of like the gymnastic because.
And she does know. She's like, okay, so I do have to do better in order to get a medal, and so it was so. The meet was so disheartening for me. To the point where after the meet, I went and talked to her coach, and I was just like, "Do you think Ivy's getting any better? Like, do we need to pull her? Like, because she's on the competitive team, but it costs more money.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if you just want to do regular gymnastics, you just flip. I can put you in tumbling. Like, there's other areas that we can support her hobby, like what she likes to do, without spending extra money." Which is, for me, like a waste.
Yeah.
And so her coach was like, well, I don't know, talk to her, see. So I talked to her. And then the next practice, Ivy had her best practice. I mean, no tears. Oh, because we
she finally did her back handspring.
By herself. And I'm just like, yes. And I go, that's all I want. I just want you to try hard and be better than you were before.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, so what is the one thing we're going to work on today? Like, just, yes. So, hopefully, we will get, like, we can meet each other in the middle. Like, I come down off of my competitiveness, and they can increase more on effort and drive, and then we'll meet in the middle, and everybody
I agree.
will be okay. But right now, I'm being tortured by my kids. And I'm not okay.
Okay.
That was a long one, but yes. All right. So, moving on to the next segment. Ooh,
You just spit it all out in your mouth, huh?
Hold on, I'm going to restart that.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have a PDP either. Oh, yes, I do. All right. Ready?
No, because... okay.
What?
I'm just trying to think of what I've been listening to, so... Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so now on to our next segment, which is where we do a P2P, a peer-to-peer share. And so this is where we just talk about something that we're listening to, we're watching, or reading. And you said, do you have one?
Yeah, I got one. I got one. Okay. So I've been, one of my close friends, she's like a sister, gave me basic personal tickets for me to go see a, I don't know, it's like I don't say it's a meet and greet, but...
You just say their name.
Huh?
You can just say their name.
Who? What do you mean?
Of what you're going to go see.
Oh, yeah, no, it's called Earn Your Leisure. I'm like, that's what I was like, what do you mean? Yeah. So it's called Earn Your Leisure. So I've watched stuff on YouTube before from them. And I was, usually what I try to do is every Monday, because they have short clips and then they have longer clips. So you can listen, they have like anywhere between, I think 7 and 9 minutes, and they give you different tools about investing, financial wealth and things like that. So I've been just listening to that because with Google and Amazon doing this split, the stock splits. I'm kind of I'm trying to figure out how we can get involved and get into those, and what will be the best time to do it, if we should wait till after it splits or before. So that's kind of what I've been listening to. So what about you?
Well, I've been watching a show called The Ultimatum.
Oh Lord, I'm not.
and would recommend this only for entertainment purposes for couples, really, because it is hilarious. So really the concept behind it is that there's a group of couples that someone within the relationship has given someone else the ultimatum. Basically, you need to marry me or we're breaking up. But they go on this experiment with other couples who have also issued the ultimatum. And then you meet each other and basically decide if you want to stay with the person you came with or if you want to try to go somewhere else. And basically have a trial marriage for 3 weeks.
It's basically like wife swap for couples that are... That's literally what it is. Yeah. And so you're swapping with every other couple that's in there.
If they choose.
Oh, yeah, you got to choose them.
It's like the most awkward, the most irrational thing ever. But it is quite entertaining. That's why I said it's entertainment only. It is weird because it's like real life. Like these are real people, but the whole situation is just not real. So if you're looking for some just guilty pleasure to watch Ultimatum.
Yeah, she got me watching it.
Yes, so I was trying to
I don't watch her.
Listen, okay, so since we brought it up, I'm going to tell the story. Okay. So we try to go to bed now. That's one of the things we're trying to do is go to bed at the same time. So we'll usually watch like a show or whatever. So I was like, oh, well, I'm wrapping up this, or I'm at the end of an episode and we were really tired. I was like, let's just finish this episode and, we'll go to sleep or whatever. Well, Jay was like, okay, fine. So as soon as the episode starts, I fall asleep. I don't remember what's going on. And Jay stays up and finishes it.
Yeah.
Then the next day, he's like, I have questions. I need to start at episode 1 so I can figure out the backstory.
You gotta. You have to say it right. Because the first thing I say, you're wrong. That was the first thing I said. Oh. Because she put it on
literally in the middle of an episode.
In the middle of the episode. Because I was like, okay, I'm gonna start it from the first one. No, just put it on this episode. It was like literally like 27 minutes into the episode. So like I was like, all right, I'll put it on. She was asleep within like 2 minutes. And I'm just like, all right, so I'll just continue watching. Mind you, in my head, I was like, I'm really gonna be hot after this because she made me watch this corny stuff. And I'm watching, I say, yo, this is wild. Yeah. I was like, this is wild, and she is wrong for this. Because literally, I like it. After the episode was, I turned it off, and I'm just like, should I start on episode 1 right now? Because I'm trying to figure out how all this, because the way she didn't explain it the way it happens on the show. Because when you first explained it to me, you explained it the way I thought about it is somebody gave an ultimatum and then there was random people, not the other couples that are there that did the ultimatum. There was random people that you could select from to actually, go on another date with. Yeah. I didn't know it was the people that also was getting the ultimatum.
Yeah, it's so weird. This I was like, so unrealistic.
So especially watching in the episode I did, because I was just like, it don't make any sense. I'm not gonna go into it, but it don't make no sense. You're the person who gives somebody else an ultimatum, but you get upset that person kissed somebody else. You the one did it.
You put them in the situation.
You put them in a situation, want the ultimatum, but then you upset that they kissed somebody, but you kissed the person too.
I know, but I think it kind of feeds into the whole, it feeds into pride because you think that you're so good, your relationship is so, there's just no way he's gonna find, the other person's gonna find someone that's better than you are. So that's why you put yourself into the situation, and then when they actually do make connections with other people, you're like, oh wait, I can actually lose him or lose this my significant other. It's so wild because
that's common sense because.
Well, it's so wild because you already know I'm a wish you would type of person.
We wouldn't even be in that.
Well, no, that's what I was like. I wish somebody would come up to me and like, oh yeah, do this experiment, and somebody roll up on you and be like, and then because literally they date the other person in the midst, you're there.
Yeah, everybody's around.
We're gonna have a group dinner, and so you see your person
booed up with the other person,
with another person,
kikiing, laughing.
And you're supposed to be over here. Oh no. so crazy. But anyway,
yeah.
it's as you can see, it's definitely entertaining.
She got me drawn into this.
Yes, but yes,
she got me drawn into this. So
yes, if
but
you
I
want
like it.
Yes, if you want some drama that's external to you, check it out.
All right. So what are we talking about today?
I'm glad we had that little laugh.
Okay.
Because what we're talking about today is not so funny.
Okay, I don't know where we're going, but okay, let's ride.
Well, I think it is time, because basically off of what we talked about last week about how we want people or how we want our spouse to support us.
Correct.
That we just talk about how we have basically stood up for each other, supported each other through church hurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because this is like a real life example.
Yes, it is.
Of how you have to show up for your spouse in a way that, and basically kind of, it's like twofold. So it's like, how do you show up for your spouse in like regular, real situations, and then also too, how can you support a spouse when you're hurting as well? Yeah. So it's like twofold. So. I guess I gotta start.
I don't know where you Okay. I'm trying to figure out how you starting this, because I don't want how that fuse is. You lit the fuse by saying what you say, so now I'm kind of like, how do I say this? How do I?
Well, and so that's the whole thing. I feel like one thing that people know about us, in our circle, even if you've met us in a church setting, we go hard. Like, we're very loyal to that church, because we like, as far as like volunteering and like putting forth the mission and the vision, like whenever we're engaged in church, we support it. And we believe that we are building the kingdom of God.
Correct.
So we are very loyal. We're very studious. I don't know if that's the right word, but we're good stewards of our time, talent, and treasure.
Correct.
Okay.
We give back more than. I would just say that we give back.
Yes. Okay. So the reason why we haven't even brought this up is because we have been trying to protect others.
Correct.
All right, and really protect the church that we were coming from.
Correct.
And so this episode is not to bash this church, but it's really to talk about how church hurt impacts your spouse, your relationship, and then how you have to make sure that you're supporting each other and standing up for each other in those situations in order for you guys to move past it.
Correct.
Okay. So this is something that we've been dealing with basically since
pandemic started, pretty much.
Yes. Right before that, though, is when we reached our tipping point at the start of the pandemic.
Yes.
Okay. So we were the directors of small groups for an up-and-coming church here in the Houston area. They had different campuses, so we weren't a part of the broadcasting campus, but we were one of the satellite locations. And so we were, well, even before this, we were hesitant to really get involved in church. Correct. Because I would say our home church, because our home church, we were very active there as well, but we were burnt out. Correct. And then with all of the issues, like with your mom's death, and it was just too many memories there. Yeah. So we just needed to take a break, and so we were just trying to find a church where we could just attend.
Basically, pew members. Just we go and then leave. We didn't want to get involved, but how we are, like it doesn't work that way. Like, we just sitting back and doing. I don't want to say doing nothing. That's not in our, I would say, DNA.
It's not.
Especially because we have a heart for marriages. Like, there's no way that you can just be pew members and then have a heart for marriages. Like, you see, like, I'll say for the both of us, we actually, can walk in and see, like, how different marriages, and we can kind of see, like, okay, they need some type of,
Oh, we were like, they're cool. Like,
Like, so.
But and we were trying to run from our calling.
Yes.
Because we have other passions too, right? So Jay was actually a part of the photography team. And I was a part of the special events team because I love doing that stuff. So we were like, okay, this is how we're going to avoid it. Like, we're going to avoid our calling, but we're still going to be active for the Lord, right? So we were like, we're going to help out in these different teams. Yeah. But even that did not hold up. We ended up becoming the directors, like I said, of small groups. And so, so we became the directors of small groups. And even then, like, even seeing that we were hands on the ground, like feet on the ground, we were in it. And so we were okay there. But then, like, we started just noticing how there was, like, preferential treatment of certain individuals.
Correct.
They just wanted way too much time. And it was just becoming to the point where it was frustrating because Jay already has a demanding job as far as time, and it's very inconvenient times. And so it was literally me having to still be like a leader, a church leader, help everyone else, and then but while still taking care of my kids because they're there with me. So we were helping to load in, load out, and everything in between. It was just very demanding. We were seeing how it wasn't equal even across the leadership. And so that, I think, became like the first, I don't want to say red flag, but just our first issue. Okay. And so then other than that, it was just like, also too, depending on who said what, carried more weight than others. And so we would say this is what we needed, like this is what we needed to feel like we were being supported, or so that we wouldn't be so drained. Because if you're spending all your time like serving at church, you have nothing when you come home. Like,
and
you're
that's
empty,
literally,
you're tired. We still have kids, we still have a marriage, we still have a life. So it was just like, it was just draining. And like, this is all volunteer, like completely 100% free. So we were like, okay, this is not going well.
So let me jump in. Let me say this one thing. So you have to have discernment about anytime you're serving, and I'm gonna say this for myself, when you're serving in church, if it's interfering with your relationship and your marriage, that's when you have to start saying no to things. Because the simple fact is, we're serving together in a specific group at our church, but that does not negate the quality time that you need to spend with your spouse. So if you're making more time to, I'm not gonna say serve God, because you're serving the church at this point. That's how I feel. I'm not gonna say it. You're serving the church. If you're serving the church is more important than spending time with your spouse, then that's a problem.
Right, because there's levels to it, right? There's God definitely wants you to build His kingdom. He wants you to be active. He wants you to be His hands and feet. But He's not going to do that at the detriment of your marriage, of your relationship.
Correct.
Of your family, because your first ministry should always be your wife, your spouse and your family. Correct. And then from there you branch out. So we were getting to the point where we were getting frustrated, because we also were seeing that we were kind of the tokens.
Just say it.
We were the tokens in leadership. And so other people of color who had issues, they felt more comfortable coming to us. And so, and we understood that, because that's the whole thing. Like, you can relate more so. And we would bring our concerns up. We thought we were bringing our concerns up through the proper channels. And nothing was ever being done. But we were like, this is a part of being a family, right? Every family has like some dysfunctional either members or just dysfunctional areas. And we were willing to work with them through it.
Correct.
In order to make everybody better in the whole situation. Okay. Then there was the death of George Floyd. which escalated pretty much everything at that point.
Exodus.
Well, there was the mass exodus, but even then, we were wanting to try to bridge the gap between where they were and where a lot of the black members were.
Yeah, so...
And have that conversation or whatever.
So a lot of, during that time, like my wife said, there was a lot of individuals who was calling us because they was not getting, I don't want to say the support, but they wasn't feeling like they was being seen during this time.
Yep.
From the church. Mm-hmm. So, they was kind of bringing stuff to us, and, we're having to have conversations with them. And I mean, we're doing that as well as, getting ready for a new semester.
So we were dealing with the pandemic.
Yes.
That's when everything was shutting down.
So everything was going online.
So the church was trying to figure out how to make that shift.
And then on top of that, we're fielding all these calls from individuals. So like when I mean, I have a full-time job. She has a full-time job. Yes. Then we're doing, stuff for as being a director. Administrative stuff. And then on top of it, we fielding calls.
And then we were doing actually counseling.
So now it's, like I say, this is all volunteer. Again, I enjoy helping people. We both enjoy helping people. But there's a time where it's like, if we was literally doing this for every day till 11, 12, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm gonna say we was drained. We was drained.
Oh no, we were.
We were drained,
That's
and
an
kind of like what she said, as we were starting to bring this stuff up to different leadership, it's like it's like, okay, we're not being heard. Like, what's going on?
Yes. So that's the first thing I would say that you need to do when dealing. Well, we're using church hurt as an example, but it's when you're dealing or having to support your spouse with any issue. Yeah. And that's the first thing is to make sure that they feel seen. Mm-hmm. Acknowledge that that is their reality of the experience, because we felt like. We were trying to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. Like we were like, hey y'all, we're overwhelmed. Hey, we can't do all these different things right now. Mm-hmm. And then it came across like they were guilting us for not having the love of God enough to do this.
Yep. And
that's when we were like, wait, what? Like this has nothing to do with our love for God and our love for God's people. Like we are literally like, there has to be boundaries. There needs to be limits. Yeah. We just cannot do this.
Correct.
And we felt like we weren't being heard.
Yeah.
And so, but we provided, but even though we were running on E, we were still allowing others to feel seen and heard.
Correct. Yep.
During this time.
Yeah.
But that seemed to go neglected. Like they didn't see that part. Yeah. Like our leadership didn't see our part. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing also too, that was very frustrating during this time was like, the process, like everybody's supposed to be covered. Like there's like an upline. So you're supposed to be covered by, the people on your upline. And we were like, well, we're talking to our upline and we're not feeling covered. Yeah. We couldn't talk to our senior pastor. There was like no access to him. Mm-hmm. And we were like, well, are we actually covered? Like, like we were like just feeling like we were just out here. We were just out here.
We felt like it was on an island.
We have to process our own feelings with the situation. Because I'm not going to go in how I found out about the whole George Floyd thing, because I know I will start crying. Yeah. But we were like trying to process all of that, and we were just like, we can't process because we got to do this. We have kids that don't understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then we have a pandemic that no one understands what's going on. And so we were just like... And okay.
I'll even add, it's not just that, and then we're both having to deal about this with work. So it's like, it's like, so it's work, and then it's just, it's I want to say it's a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot because again, like for me, it's like, and I'm not gonna go too much into it, but I don't have to educate people. That's not my job to educate people about stuff.
We differ on this, but go ahead.
But no, it's like
I know. Go ahead.
You pay, and I was like this. a lot of individuals pay to get an education. Okay? So what that means is, for me, is like, okay, if you want to know about this, go get the education yourself. Yeah, I can give you some information. I can tell you some stuff. But the simple part is, if you don't have empathy for what I deal with, whatever I come out my mouth and tell you,
just as a person, though.
Yeah, like anything that comes out my mouth, you're not going to receive it because you're not going to feel. You just want to check something about. Oh yeah, I talked to this person. So it's like, so that's yeah.
Yeah, and then being the tokens on the team
And at work.
Well, I wasn't the token at work.
Because like I said, I'll say for me, I'm very outspoken, and on my jobs, that's one thing that I don't let people just talk to me any other way. And I think I said that last week, and when we was talking about the slap, I don't let people just talk to me any other way. So if you feel like you can talk to me a certain way, you're gonna get that same energy back. And I understand, yeah, you could be my manager, but no, you're not gonna just talk crazy to me because, again, I'm an adult, I'm not your child. I'm an adult. So if you're gonna talk to me as an adult.
Okay.
So
no, but that's a good actually transition to like the next part. So it was like we felt like because we were the tokens, we felt like we were we felt like maybe like no one was relating to our experience. And that's fair because we were the tokens, but no one empathized and no one cared enough to try to find out what we were feeling.
Yeah.
So then when we brought it up, we brought it up and we were basically like, I want to say, yeah, they're just like, oh, we didn't know you felt this way, but you shouldn't feel this way. That's basically, at the end of the day, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know why you feel that way. That's not how it is. And I'm like, what? And that's another way to support your spouse is to normalize their feelings.
Yeah.
They are allowed to feel the way they feel about whatever the situation.
You may not understand
You may not intended your behavior, your actions to make them feel that way, but those are their feelings.
Yep.
Allow them the chance to own it. Allow them a chance to express it. So for you to tell me I shouldn't feel this way, that right there, I was just like, oh, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, at that point, that was our tipping point.
Oh yeah.
That is when we had enough. It was like, okay, we've asked for help. You're not giving us help. We've been juggling this. We've been giving you guys all this time. Because it got to a point where we were not serving the big C church. We were serving our local church.
Yeah.
Like the administration of it. Like I wasn't the corporation, but the business of it.
Yep.
And we were like, okay, we put the business first, and we're tight. Like, we can't do it anymore. We come to y'all with our heart, literally. That's.
And mind you,
we
this is
came sharing our heart, and they took our heart and was like, it was like, and why y'all upset? Like,
and like I said, we took it up the chain. We spoke to multiple different people. Spoke our heart.
Yes.
And
they
said there's things coming down the pipeline that we're working on. We want you to be a part of this, part of that.
Yes. Oh yes, because we gave more time. You're right.
Yep.
Because we were trying, because we wanted to be a part of the solution.
Correct.
Like, because that's one thing. You don't have to worry about us. Like, if we're bringing you a problem, we're also coming with recommendations. We never just say, oh, there's a problem here. We have no idea how to fix it.
Correct.
We'd be like, hey, why don't we try this? Why don't we try that? We always have some sort of solution or recommendation. And so when they were like, yeah, there's things coming down the pipeline, you guys need to, be a part of this group and be a part of this call. We were there. And still.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Everything fell on flat on, I guess, with deaf ears.
Because the right people were not in the right room.
Correct.
And that's when we realized, as long as we're there for them, everything's fine. But when it's reversed, when we need them to be here for us, they cannot be found.
Correct.
And then that's when we left that particular church, but in our, like, literally the damage that was done, because these people knew how much of a love we have for marriages, how much love we have for people, how just our previous experience about burnout, like, we had laid all that, and they were like, "Oh yes, we're here. We hear you. We're walking this. We're doing life together." And then for them to just kind of throw us to the curb was just like, okay. And so it caused us to really, like, have to kind of walk away from church altogether. And then we had to reevaluate our relationship with God, because we were like, we felt like God had called us there. So. Okay, so yeah, it's still, like, I have healed from the process, but talking about it puts me right back into those feelings.
Yeah.
So that's why I get a little emotional. But anyways, but one thing we did decide to do is that we were gonna be in it together. Like, we honestly, because we felt isolated, so we gave each other, like, space to just feel how they were feeling.
Yeah.
Vent whenever the vent came.
Yeah.
Because literally, we will be doing something. We would hear something would trigger something, and we would be like, "Look at this," and how that. Yeah. So we allowed each other to be able to do all that and vent. But we also said that we were not going to go back, because a lot of times, when people are hurt by church, by people from the church, they say, "Oh, you're just misunderstanding their intent." Yeah, they didn't mean that. And they want you to go back to that place, like, back in the presence of the people who hurt you.
Yeah.
To smile and just
act like nothing happened.
Get over it. Yes. And we said we were not going to do that, because one thing we wanted to do was to give each other space to feel how we feel in order to heal, and then we could forgive. Like, I think people always push people too fast to forgive. Oh, they didn't mean that. They didn't mean it like that. You just forgive them and go, because that's, forgiveness is a huge thing. And God does require us to forgive others, but it can be a process. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to be instant, because you need to know that your feelings are your feelings, and you can feel that way. And also, you have to also accept that sometimes, like, when you're in the process of forgiving, you're forgiving without an apology. And that can be hard, especially if you felt like you were really wrong.
And like, I deserve this.
Exactly.
But the thing is, you're not going to get it. It's like, what's the phrase? Like, like you're what is it? Like, you're expecting somebody to, it's like, I can't think.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Like, it's about the fire, right?
Yeah, it's like, what is it?
But I can't remember the thing, but.
Like, you're expecting somebody to acknowledge the hurt that they caused, but in doing that, you're hurting yourself. You're not. Yeah. So I can't think of the phrase.
I know. I can't either.
It's gonna pop in my head as we talk, probably.
Or when we're done, and then I'm like, oh, that's what it was. But yeah. But right. So that's why I was like, I feel like you have to do like first aid. Do first aid on yourself.
Yeah.
Stop your bleeding. Feel your feels. And then do whatever it takes to heal before you then forgive. Yeah. Because I feel like because a lot of forgiveness is kind of superficial. We say it with our mouths, but we don't really forgive because we didn't give us enough time to heal first before offering that forgiveness. Yeah. So there's a quote that I found that I was like, when I read it, I was like, yes. It says, healing is not forgetting what happened. It's when we get to a place where what happened lives inside of us differently. And
Yeah.
that's exactly how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Like, I think too often we also too, because we are the hands and feet of Jesus, that when a person does us wrong that's associated to church, we feel like God just did us wrong.
Yeah.
And that's not the case, because we're all humans. And that's one thing I've had to like really process in our healing, is that these are just people just like us.
Yeah.
Yes, they maybe have been, become pastors, but just like we do with doctors, they go to school, they know how to help people heal, but sometimes it doesn't, like, they also can be the cause of someone dying.
Yeah.
And do we fault God for that? No, because they're just a person. Like, we don't take, like, knock them down from their position just because they did something that didn't work and caused someone to die.
Yeah.
Like, they're still a doctor, but they're still human.
Yeah.
So the only person that we can truly know that they mean no evil for us is God.
Yeah.
And he's not human. So that's why it was like, we just have to be able to not equate the same. And I think also too, the church does pastors or even like senior people within the church a disservice by putting them on such a high pedestal that they become untouchable, unreachable for their congregation. And so when they do make mistakes, it's like a giant fall because they've been put up so high.
Yeah.
But as we're reading, is like when you believe that you are doing those miracles, like if you feel like you're performing those miracles in your name, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The world sees, because you're a physical person, they see you as that person who's performing the miracles, when it's really the God in you that is doing the things.
Yep.
And so whenever you take credit, you're going to come down. Like, God's going to shut you down. He's a jealous God.
Yep.
So, anywho, as you can tell, that's a little, literally every time we talk about it, we have to remind ourselves of who our God is, not the people that he's placed on this earth to do the work, because we have to rebuild our relationship with God.
Yeah, see, my wife, I'm not saying much because I don't want to go there. Because, no, I'm just saying with the whole situation, because, like I said, we've had conversation about it. It's like, I don't want to bring my feelings. I've brought some, but not all of them. Yeah. Because I've, not saying that I suppress them, I let that stuff go. I don't want to bring that stuff up and have it flare up again, because, it was tough.
It was tough.
It was tough.
So as we were working through it, like another thing you can do to help support your spouse is to pay attention. And that's to pay attention to the way your spouse is navigating the day, right? So there were times when like we would just like be snippy at each other. Like, so it's real easy for me to, because we've been together for a while now. So I don't know every time, but I have a high possibility. I have a high percentage of time knowing when something's wrong with Jay.
Yeah.
It's either he's like extra quiet when he wouldn't be quiet in the situation, or there's facial, like there's like body expressions, like body language. I'm like, something's not right with him. But I could see that because that took up so much time. Yeah. So it's like we had all that time back, and then it was like we were missing something, and we were trying, like, and you would see like there was just like a disconnect. Yeah. And so then that's when we were like, I would be like, hey, well, I'll try to play worship music. And we were like, no.
I'll cut that off,
especially because music
brings you back to those particular places where either you first heard it or when it impacted you for that particular reason. It had a different feeling. It's like I said, it took a long while. For me, it's just like hearing that, it just brought me back to that place, back at this church, and I was like, so it took me a long while to even, like, I'll say it like this. It took me a while to start listening to worship music, but for me, I went back to my old faithfuls. You know, I went back to old Fred Hammond, you know, Kurt Carr. I went back to them, and that kind of, but I'm still kind of,
He's still a work in progress.
I'm still work in progress. Like, you know, when she took me to Maverick City, and that kind of sparked me back listening to that, you know. But I still have moments when if I hear a song that was done, you know, at that church, it was just like, it kind of brings me back. So it's kind of hard sometimes.
Yes, but that's why it goes back to paying attention and prioritizing your spouse's needs at those times.
Yeah.
I knew he needed something. Like, I knew he needed a connection, he needed another. First of all, Jay, for some reason, which is very interesting because he's a music person, has not been a big fan of praise and worship.
And so let me explain this. It's because I didn't understand the importance of it.
Yes.
Okay, and I'll say that first because at first, you know, I'm saying a baby Christian when you first start, like I really didn't understand that worship is part of, you know, your connection with God, your connection with the Holy Spirit. That's part of it. Yeah, prayer, you know, listening to a sermon, reading the Bible, that's part of it. But, you know, with worship, that's an experience that you're having with God. So if you're taking that part out of it, you're missing, you know, and I'll say like you're missing, I'm gonna say part of the Trinity. Like you're only getting two parts, but you're missing the main part that you need. You know, because like in the Bible, it does talk about the angels worshiping God. It's like, that's what God wants us to do too. So I didn't get that connection. It took me a while to get it. It didn't make sense because, you know, I was always been, I want to hear the word. I want to ingest that so I can use that throughout the week. So I was always doing that. I'm praying, I'm getting in the Bible, but I was missing the worship part. So sometimes I couldn't get all the way through the week because I was missing that one point and I didn't understand that. So, but good.
So it was just like knowing he needed something. Also to, like I just said about how you have to separate the person from the word of God. Like, so that's why I was like, listen to the lyrics of the song, like find a remix of the song. Because everybody remix is everybody's song. So I was like, we can find another version of the song because our experience, our divine interactions, our divine, our divine interactions that we experienced at that church were true.
Oh, yeah.
So there are, yes, you might go back to that moment and think about all the negative things, but the words of a lot of the large majority of the worship song of the Christian songs hold true. So listen for the words, get that connection to God versus trying to connect to that experience. Yeah. So that's why I really like that quote because it's like, yes, I had that experience, but now when I hear that those words or when I think about the situation again, it hits differently because I have a different interpretation of it. So, but that goes back to me recognizing he needed something, encouraging him to find different, like, because that's when because everybody was doing online church. So that was like a true blessing for us. Yeah. Because we were able to visit other churches without physically having to go there. And so we were able to find churches that he was able to connect with, I was able to connect with. And so that's kind of our struggle right now. But but we've been able to like stay connected that way. But it was because we're realizing that we needed something, reading each other's like body language to understand and prioritizing each other's needs over ours.
Correct.
So, because also too, that raised a question around how do we go about finding a new church?
Yeah.
Now that the pandemic is not over, but it's getting where it's easier to manage. We will eventually need to find a local church. And so God is good. And so he's been able to connect, like, actually not even connect us, like, I guess re-engage.
Yeah.
Like reconnect with some individuals who are literally Bible, it's God's word first, everything else next, which has really been helpful for us, not just for our walk, like our individual walks with God, but our our spirituality connection between us two.
Yeah. And then even this, like, I've been, like I said, I've said prior weeks that I have different devotionals that I do. And I was reading one of my devotionals, and it was by Tony Evans. I'm just gonna tell you that. So in the devotional I'm gonna read it, he basically says, developing our spiritual muscles takes work and requires us to be pushed out of our comfort zone. And then it's this kind of where I threw it is iron sharpens iron. So we need those people in our life that are helping us to strengthen our spiritual muscle. And that's why I was like, part of it is, having this group, it's helping us to strengthen those muscles. Yes. And then if you think about, like working out and stuff like that, you get strong, because over time you're working that muscle. It's stretching and strengthening that muscle, with your rest, with how much weight you're putting behind it. So then it was something else that it says, the rate at which you grow spiritually in your life, in the time you have allotted, determines the distance you will travel down the road of discipleship towards spiritual maturity. So in the way I read it and the way it says is like, for us to be able to, get closer to that spiritual maturity, we need to be around others that are running a little faster than us, so that we can increase our pace. Yeah. And as we're learning from them, we're also speeding up, and there's going to be somebody else that's learning too. So we're just, and it's like, we're paying it back. Like we're helping other people gain up to where that spiritual maturity, even though, like I said, we may not be running at that same pace. Some people may be way ahead of us, but having those people around us, having those people, with us, you're actually you're increasing your pace, because you're what the nuggets that they've learned, they're helping you out, and then that spiritual maturity is growing. So.
Yeah, that was good. No, that's a good. Yeah, and so yeah, I have nothing else to say on that one. That pretty much sums it up. But the last thing I would say that has helped us the most, and is a great way to help support your spouse when dealing with an issue, is to laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Jay is real good about this, about not letting me take myself too seriously. When you're in a situation and you're just like, the stress, the pressure, whatever, is too much, crack a joke, send each other a funny reel, a funny video or something. Just laugh. That's the one great thing about having kids. All you gotta do is put on some music, and they will crack you up.
Listen, we have a video. Y'all go see it. Our youngest. Listen, y'all. We was playing praise and worship music in the morning before school. If you watch the video, he has like a cow. If you watch the video, you would think he's dancing to the song that's playing.
Yeah. It was praise and worship.
It was praise and worship, and I just got to go watch it.
Yes, we're going to have to link that one. I forgot all about that one.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, so literally, and that's what was like, kids, God bless them. they love to entertain.
Yeah.
So I thought you were talking about this past weekend. Where we were just hanging out and actually it was Sunday Fun Day, and they went and was playing the song from Sing 2. And it started off with just Ivy and her best friend. Then the next thing I know, Aiden's in it. Aiden and Micah are in it, and Ivy and her best friend. And I'm like, and that's like a whole production. Like they color coordinated outfits.
There was a wardrobe change.
Yes, there's a wardrobe change.
There was some
like a dance battle.
Yeah, it's a dance battle. There was some what is it called?
Praise dancing.
Yeah, some praise. Some
lyrical praise
dancing in the beginning.
It was
like
all the things.
And they really, like I said, they really looked like they ironed it out, picked what they was gonna do, and did it. It was type hilarious.
It was hilarious. But it was like you have to find those little things to laugh at, to just break it up because. I mean, life is way too serious, way too stressful and too tense to just not release with some laughter every so often.
Yeah, because like I said, like my wife said, I do that type often with her. I will do something to make her get out of her head, and
sometimes it can be annoying.
Oh yeah, but she still stop, and then she smiles. So that as long as I get a smile, I'm good.
Yes, and I've learned to smile, at least smirk, so he'll leave me alone.
Because if not, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yes. So, now is where I would do a marital advance tip. And that's just, like, the takeaway from all we said. I don't have one necessarily. Oh, maybe.
I was like, why?
I mean, I don't have like one thing to sum it up. Yeah. I guess hurting people hurt people. So just give. I don't know.
Okay, I'll say it like this.
I don't know.
I don't know when we said this, but we said this once before. We as couples, as married couples, you have to have a posture where we're not facing each other, but whatever we're against, we're facing it together.
Yes.
Okay, so we're on the same side. If you think of it as a booth at a restaurant or something like that, we're on the same side of the table. We're not across from each other, because across from each other we're battling each other. But instead we're right next to each other like we are here. Yeah. We're both facing the same way, and we're facing a problem. So anytime you feel that you got, as a couple, are faced with anything, get on the same side of the table and face that particular thing together.
Yes. No, that's good. See? Well, you had it. Yes.
And I didn't even know what this is about. I didn't even know she was.
And I will say, because one thing I didn't really highlight while we were going through the points, but yes, we felt like we at times I felt attacked, like emotionally attacked, but there was never a time where I didn't feel supported by him. Like more often, I had to pull him back. Like, no, we're that's not what we're gonna say. That's not what we're gonna do.
It goes back to last week's episode.
Because he was just like, nah, that's not what's gonna happen. But I was like, no, let's.
Yep.
Literally, there were times where I'd be like, just sit on it for an hour. It was like, let's just sit for an hour.
Yep.
And then respond. Or I would say, just go ahead and respond, but don't send it. And so that way it just comes out. It's just out.
And I
can edit it.
The way I had to respond, I had to put it in like a note on my phone and get it all out. And then I shared the note with her, and I get it out and just leave it there. Because that's So if you ever need to get something out, just put it in a note, share it to your spouse, and let them kind of look at it. And I'm not saying in the context of what we're talking about, when you guys are attacking something together, I'm not saying put something in a note and attack your spouse. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about you get what you need to get out and allow your spouse to either look at it, edit it, or just, so she can get an understanding of what you're thinking about, what you're feeling about whatever's you're being attacked by.
Because at the end of the day, I know we've said it several times, you're a team, you're a brand, and the way you show up, people are only going to remember the last time they interacted with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whenever it only takes one bad experience to wipe out all the good that you've done. And that was one thing that I think is why we've never really talked about it, because we were still like trying to protect them, but at the end of the day, trying to protect them was hurting us.
Correct. Because,
like I said, we have to be able to talk about this. We got to be able to process it so we can truly heal from it all. And also, I do want to say, that was going to be mine. That was going to be my share. Hold on. Okay, so I got to do it because now that I brought it up.
Okay.
For those of you who are in positions of leadership within a church, whether it's small, big, whatever, if you're carrying a leadership position, be okay with apologizing for your behavior. Not necessarily your intent behind it.
Correct.
But how it was received. And if you need to go apologize to someone, do it. That right there is really a demonstration of Christ. You laying your pride down, letting all that down to go and apologize for the hurt that you've caused, even if you didn't intend it. Yeah. That's how we build we have to be walking examples of what Christ is. And so that right there is like what I would take. Like, I would want to share that with anyone. And this also applies to marriages. Like, if you do something that hurts your spouse, apologize. Sincerely. Don't just... Because it's never about your intention. I do not think that Jay intentionally tries to hurt me. But he may do something that does hurt my feelings. He may say something, he may do something, whatever, that hurts my feelings. And I need to be able to tell him, hey, babe, what you said, when you said this is how I interpreted it, and that hurt me. Yeah. And then he can just apologize for saying, well, that's not what I meant. He's like, I never intended that. That's a true demonstration of love.
And I'll piggyback on that beforehand. Apologizing verbally, not over a text, not over an email. Do it because, again, when you send something in a text, in an email, you're not going to get the tone from it. Because, again, we've talked about this before. You need to be able to see tone. You mean hear tone, see your body language, and then hearing the words. You need to have all three of those parts. So if you're just sending a text, that's just words. So you're not getting any tone, any body language behind it. So you need all three of those. So if you're gonna apologize, you apologize in person. If you don't want to be in the same room, do it on FaceTime. You're still gonna get the visual, and you'll be able to hear that person's tone, so you can receive what they're saying. Yeah. So.
I think that was it.
Okay.
I have a lot about this. I didn't realize until we started talking.
So we're going to have part 2 or something?
No, that was it. No. Not unless people are like, I want to hear more about whatever, like, as far as, like, being able to heal. Like, if we can have more conversations about healing from church hurt, yes. But, like, our experience, no. I mean, I'll touch here and there to, support whatever. But I do want everyone that, we've talked to, whatever, like... We felt it, although sometimes we couldn't really share. Yeah. Because of our positions in the church. Correct. But you were not alone. We felt it. We were experiencing it. even if we might not have said it, we were fighting for, we were fighting for the representation. We were fighting for your feelings to be heard. We were fighting for you guys having a platform to just express what you were feeling.
All the stuff that people reached out for us for, we was fighting for those things that you guys brought to us. Yeah. And I don't want people to think that we weren't. No, everything y'all brought to us, we brought up. Right.
And if we did anything, since I said for everybody, and if we did anything that hurt you, we sincerely apologize.
We do.
Like I said, I don't want to I just want to end it there, because I think too, some people always try to justify. Yeah. Oh, well, we were stressed. We were tired. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's all true, but that has nothing to do with your hurt and your pain.
Exactly, and what you was feeling.
Exactly. And so we apologize if we've hurt anybody while we were in a position of leadership as well. Yeah. Sincerely.
Yes, I agree.
And with that, I feel like we've been at this podcast
several times. So we're gonna end it. So if please guys, leave a comment. Give us your feelings behind if you've experienced church hurt and things like that, as well as share this with somebody else. Yes. I know going through what we've gone through, I know we wasn't the only ones. I know this is gonna be for somebody's gonna want this, be able to hear this, so they can get someone to heal. Yes, I was like, we want somebody to heal. So again, follow, and subscribe us, and then until next week, peace.